Close the door behind you. You're now in the green room.
Yo, everybody, welcome to the Green Room. Today we're talking to Kyle Ernest, a Lucian guitarist, at kyle.ernest_guitarist on Instagram. I enjoyed talking to him, and I think you'll enjoy listening into the conversation that we had. Remember, the Green Room is open to all Caribbean instrumentalists, even those who don't live in the Caribbean. So, if you're interested in talking to us, shoot us an email at lucianmusicians@gmail.com. Now, let's get into music. All right, boss. So, welcome to the Green Room. I don't know if you know what the Green Room is.
Yeah. It's good to be part of it. I watched one of them with Gideon, I think.
Yeah, that was the very first one. Yeah, so for anybody coming in on the Instagram Live, this is the very first time that we're ever recording the Green Room on the Instagram Lucian Musicians platform. And if you don't know, the Green Room is a monthly podcast for Caribbean instrumentalists, where we talk about the musician's experience, we talk about music, and pretty much anything we want. And it's a 40-minute conversation. Now, for those of you joining the IG Live, I want you all to do me a favor, because this is the first time that we're actually going live on the Green Room. So if you can hear me properly, just give me a wave or give me something, or a comment to let me know that you guys can actually hear us on the line, because that's the one thing that I'm afraid of. And let me know that you can hear Kyle as well. If you can hear Kyle, then I need to stop the IG Live. So just let me know that you can hear him. Okay, I see a couple of waves. All right, so looks like we're good to go.
Okay, nice.
Yeah, man. So you know, this is our first time talking. So tell me a little bit about how you started your musical journey. How you picked up a guitar to begin with.
Well, it's kind of weird, I guess. It was back in 2015, well, close to the end of 2015, and I asked my dad for a piano. Actually, I wanted to learn piano, and he was like, "Okay, cool, he'll get me a piano and whatnot." Then my birthday came, and then I didn't see a piano. I was like, "Okay, what's going on?" He's like, "Don't worry, you'll see what's up." And then I'm seeing like a couple of days down the line, there's a box guitar, an acoustic guitar there. So I'm like, okay, well, I always wanted to learn guitar too, sure. So sure, why not? And then from there, I picked it up. It kind of became like an addiction because I used to be at it every day. And conveniently, the time my father gave it to me, I think I was just transitioning from, I think, secondary school to A-level. So there was a little bit of a gap, like vacation time. Right. So I was just behind that 24/7 trying to learn stuff online, and I guess the rest is history from there.
All right, and you say it like you would just at it all the time. So what would you say was like really the main genre of music that you were playing, or sort of the place that you landed musically that you felt most comfortable?
Well, when I picked up the guitar, there really wasn't a genre in my mind at the time because, my dad is a musician as well. Well, he's a singer, so he used to play all sorts of music, all different genres and things. But I ended up playing in church, so I guess gospel would have been my main genre for the time back then.
All right. Well,
Yeah, man.
So I just started learning the guitar myself. And it's a very interesting instrument in that, you have rhythm guitar and you have lead guitar. What would you say your favorite direction is when it comes to that?
You asked me a tough question there, because I really love both of them.
No, but that's good because that means you're well-rounded, yeah?
Well, I wouldn't say well-rounded, but, we're trying to get there. But I don't know. I guess I have a special place in my heart for, I guess, the lead guitar. I like a lot of distortion.
Yeah.
You know, especially, well, I came across a couple of artists since I was, trying to play in the hotels and actually go on the ship. And I really like some of the 80s solos. Like there's just a different texture, different vibe about their tone and their approach in, handling the progressions and their solos. So I guess if push comes to shove, I would lean towards lead guitar, I guess.
All right. Yeah, man, because I know there might be a couple of people watching that remember the 758 challenge. That was a feature. I think that was your most recent feature on the Lucian Musicians platform.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, I enjoyed that one. Big
I
up
appreciate that.
Rashad and the OV gang for the whole 758 challenge. Lucian Musicians was a little late to the party on that one, but I really appreciate what I saw with that. So here's the thing. You mentioned that your father, you wanted a piano, right? And he gave you a guitar instead. What happened to your desire to learn the piano? It just evaporated, or you just forgot about it?
It didn't really evaporate, per se. It's still there, but I kind of got to a point where, well, let's say maybe like 2 years into my guitar, I got so addicted to it, so into it. I just say, you see what you know what? You see that piano thing? That guitar is life for the time, so I'm not wasting my head on that. But then I started doing like production work as well, like started making my own little beats and thing, and I realized it kind of is important for me to have, or at least have a little understanding of the piano when I'm doing my stuff. So I set out to learn a little something on it, but I still haven't. I more or less just use chords that I take from my guitar, go into a piano roll on the software, and then just put the individual notes on it. Or if I understand a little bit of the theory, put the chords together and then try to make it work from there.
All right. So are you full-time music, or do you have a 9 to 5 or?
I would love to be a full-time musician, but nah, I got a 9 to 5.
All right.
Yeah.
Cool. So, right now, it's going to be difficult for us to have a full conversation without talking about what everybody else is talking about. Yo, you have people bigging you up on Instagram Live there, Somebody say, Kyle is my role model. You have a next one saying Kyle is the best.
Oh my gosh. And I can't even see the live. I don't think I can leave the app, right?
I think you might be able to, but we don't want to risk it.
Yeah, I rather not take the chance. Yeah. I'll watch it later. Okay.
Yeah, I think you could see it after. But they're showing you love. They're showing you love on the live right now, man.
Yeah, big up to everybody, man. Big up to everybody.
Yeah, so I was saying, right now we can't really talk about anything except we can't talk for very long without addressing the worldwide pandemic right now. And, especially for musicians around the world, especially musicians who are full time,
right.
The gigs have dried up, and nothing's happening. So,
I mean, for the jazz season, I was supposed to have 1 or 2 gigs coming up and thing, and then the coronavirus just came in and just destroyed everything. And even for some of the musicians I follow on Instagram, those who are on tour, I see they put little lives up and they talk about it, and they're saying it's really crazy how this virus just came and turned the whole world upside down.
Yeah, man. It just came and just washed the globe.
Yep. Took a lot of people's bread for this season.
Yeah, man.
But everything happens for a reason. Maybe it's just not bound to happen now. Maybe it'll happen later. Maybe something bigger will happen later. Just have to be positive about it.
Yeah, man. I think everybody's going to come back. As a people, we're going to bounce back. Because
of course.
If anything, what this shows is that we're all in this together.
Yeah, man.
And I don't think people should worry about it too much. But if you were to sit down with some of the musicians on the platform who might be worried right now, or some musicians who are home bored, watching Netflix, what would you tell them?
Well, I mean, I'll be a hypocrite for saying it, but it's kind of like a lesson not a lesson, but should I say a spanking for myself as well. It's like you shouldn't, as a musician, you shouldn't really be lazy because that's like the perfect opportunity to just be practicing, and learning some new stuff and trying to learn new techniques or brush up on techniques that you have. I mean, it's as much as it's a setback, it's also a very big opportunity to build yourself up as a musician. So that would be my advice to everyone. Simple, just practice.
Practice makes perfect, right?
Yep.
So you said, it's a great opportunity to work out big ideas and stuff. What are some things that you're working on right now that might inspire somebody else?
Right now, I'm actually I learned of an artist called The Midnight. So and a few other old school artists, just more or less going throughout the songs and trying to learn, the whole concept and approach when it comes to some of the guitar solos, even some of the chord progressions as to why they would play there, and some of the textures per se that they would add, like fancy chords and things. We try to go through that and try and apply it to my own style of playing and see how I can create my own tone, my own sound. Especially for my tone as well, because with my effect pedal, I try to spend a little bit of time tweaking my tone and trying to get it to what I'm hearing in my head, So
all right.
That's my little thing for the time.
All right. So if you were to tell somebody how to find The Midnight, how would I find that person? Is that somebody?
Just go on. Yeah, you can just go on YouTube, type The Midnight, and what I can tell you, listen to Sunset. That's one of my favorite songs. It has a good guitar solo in it. I'm currently, not learning it, but I'm listening to it a lot to try and get the whole solo in my head, and then try and learn it from there.
All right. For all our people on the Instagram Live right now, if you're just joining us, this is the third episode of The Green Room. The Green Room is a monthly podcast for Caribbean instrumentalists. Right now, I'm on the line with Kyle Ernest. He's a guitarist, and, he's telling me a little bit of what music he's learning right now and just different ideas that he's experimenting with. So he just mentioned The Midnight, and the song that he just recommended was Sunset. If you are watching the live right now and you're currently working on some music or you're working on learning something, why don't you just share it with us in the comments and let others know what you're working on, and maybe somebody else could be inspired.
Yeah, man, of course.
So the next direction I want to take is, just looking down the line into the future a little bit. And, I also want to ask you what effects pedal you're using. But it, like, down the road in like the next 5 years, right? If you could paint a perfect picture for everybody on the line, what would the musical career of Kyle Ernest be like in the next 5 years?
Okay, I'm using the Line 6 Port HD 500X. That's the pedal I'm using.
What? That was English? You have to say it a little slower for us, huh?
All right, sorry. So it's the Line 6. The brand is Line 6.
The
model is Pod HD 500X.
Okay.
Yeah. Where I see myself 5 years from now, well, that one's a little ticklish because 5 years from now, I'm hoping I could be maybe flying or finish my pilot license. But if that does not work out,
I didn't know you were a pilot.
Well, soon to be, hopefully.
All right.
Yeah. But if that doesn't work out, then I guess if I have to think of it small, well, not small, but, building up, I would look at myself probably being on the ship and trying to network myself as far as possible so that, maybe I could go and tour with one of the artists that I follow, I wouldn't even mind going on tour with the Midnights, considering their style of music, and the music composition is really good considering the stuff that they put out and things. But in 5 years, hopefully on tour, or at least on the ship and marketing myself to go on tour. That would be it.
Oh, gosh, so you have some guys on the IG live. They're putting your business out. You know, you'll have to
What did I say?
you'll have to
That's
check it later.
Oh my gosh.
No, the people on the line just funny. But you know, going back to you being a pilot.
Yeah.
I have my private pilot's license. I got my private back in 2010.
Oh wow.
Yeah, man. So I'm happy to know that you want to pursue that line.
You want to get your commercial?
I don't know. I don't know if I'll be getting my commercial because the thing is, flying. Like, I changed my major. I became an engineer instead.
Okay.
But flying is it's something that has to be a passion, you know.
Yeah.
And for me, it was something I liked to do, but it wasn't my passion. So
Okay.
but
It's been a passion for me since 6 years, I think 5 years. My father had his planes and stuff, so I used to go flying with him.
all right.
So it used to be pretty cool at the time. And then from there, I've just been in love with it. So I said, if anything, I don't mind doing that as a full-time job.
But where are you planning on doing your training?
No ideas yet. Well, my father had a flight school in St. Lucia, so I have all the books and stuff. I've been doing my studying and whatnot. But what I plan on doing is, since I already have the material, is just write the exam independently, maybe in Puerto Rico or so. And then from there, I guess I'll go to Miami just to get the hours, get the privates, and probably try to finish the commercial and maybe get the ATPL as well.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Well, I'm excited for you. You know, just make sure you stay focused, and you can do it. You know, flying
Thanks,
is it's very exciting. And
yeah, man.
you can't really go wrong. Just stay focused. As long as it's something that you really genuinely want to do, you can do that. But going back to your effects pedal.
Go right ahead, bro. Go right ahead.
Why do you go with line 6?
That's a very, very, very interesting story. But okay, so when I was just coming up in the game, there were a few artists, a few guitarists I used to end up linking up with, being Dwight and Zach. Now Zach had the individual pedals, he had the stomp boxes. So he told me, like, you know, since I'm just starting off, if I want to take the time and spend the money on the stomp boxes, I can do so. But he would recommend me getting a multi-effect processor. So Dwight had the same pedal that I currently have, and I used to hear him play, and his tones sounded good, you know. So I was like, well, yeah, I'm definitely gonna get that one. And then I met another guy called Richie.
Let me just stop you there. When you say Dwight, you're talking about Dwight Flo, the guitarist on Instagram, right?
Yes.
All right. So everybody on the IG live, if you want to, you could go check out Dwight Flo, the guitarist. I think is his IG handle. He has been featured on the Lucian Musicians platform. Yeah. So go ahead.
Yeah. So I saw his I used to see his videos, and we linked up a few times. He made me try the pedal, and I liked some of the tones that were on it. And then I met another guy called Richie. Now, Richie is one hell of a player, but he's like a underground kind of guy. He don't post videos. You only hear him at like gospel concerts. So when I went to a gospel concert, he saw me. He told me, you know, I could come and play and try out his pedal. So I tried it out, and the tones were amazing. But the thing was, with the Line 6, it's a bit more complicated in terms of creating your tones, but there's a lot of variety with it. Because I have, let me count it for you, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I have 8 switches, foot switches, right? And I can assign each of these switches with individual pedals. So if I want a distortion, I want a reverb, I want a phaser, I can put this on that. But for the other pedal that I was recommended to get, the Boss GT100, it does not have all these foot switches. You have to basically create the tone and then put it on one out of the, I think, 4, 5, maybe more foot switches that they have. So I've said that, you know, maybe the Line 6 is probably a better option for me, since I have more variety, more, you know, foot switches to play with. I can, make the tones and the patches feel more comfortable for me, so I don't have to be jumping all over the place. But I still wouldn't discredit the GT100 because the tones on that thing is ridiculous, man. But the pod, the 500X, is getting the job done for me. So I'm not really disappointed in the buy. I would recommend anyone to get it if they're just starting off.
All right. And
yeah.
So now that you're about 5 years in, right? Because you said you started in 2015.
Yeah, 5 years in.
You think you could see yourself possibly investing in a stomp box?
Of course. Of course. I mean, a lot. I've compared a few tunes already from mine, and when I listen to Zach play, and his tone is so rich. And I used to read a lot of forums as well, comparing the multi-effect processors with the stomp boxes, and they say that the tones that you get from the stomp boxes, you can't really get it per se with the multi-effects processors, because you just have one pedal doing just that. If it's just a distortion you want, then that pedal is designed to give just that. So there's sort of a richness to it compared to the multi-effects. So I definitely see myself getting one, probably.
Yeah, man. I don't know, because I got a multi-effects processor, and I was looking at some of the prices of these pedals, but
yeah, it's crazier. It's crazy.
Yeah, you really have to rob the bank a little bit for you to build a nice stomp box.
Yes.
Yeah,
it real rough. I mean, technology is improving, so some of the multi-effect processors are actually getting really, really good. What's I think it's the Line 6 Helix. You can search that one and look at the damn price on these things. It is the Line 6 Helix is, I think, 1,500 and something US, bro. That is. That's
Line
too much for me. I'd have to be like on tour or something like that for me to buy that, or maybe on the ship or something. But there's a Line 6 Helix, and then there's the Boss GT 1000. I think the 1000 is like 1,000 US or something, so about that.
So I have a Boss GT. I believe it's 100.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I have the 100.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't even know about the 1000, but now I'll check it out.
Yeah.
So is that Line 6 programmable? Like, do you actually program your sounds out of that? Or?
Yeah. It's actually really user friendly, but you kind of have to do a little bit of studying, not studying per se, but you just have to do a little bit of reading up on understanding the pedal, because it comes with an app as well. I can't remember well, I'm on my laptop. Let me see if I can find the name for you quick. The GT100 should have that as well. Okay, so it's called the Pod HD 500 Edit. That's the name of the app for that. You put it on your laptop, and you can program all your tunes and put it up the way you want it. It's not. I wouldn't say it's easy, because it does take a lot of reading up sometimes, but it's not hard. It's not that hard. It's pretty user friendly.
All right. Yeah, man. I'll take a look at that. So now we have a few more things that I just want to run through, and we're almost out of time. Time flies when you're having fun, right?
Yeah.
It's been a good talk so far.
Yeah, man.
So, we have, even right now, we have a lot of guys on the line. Mostly kicks in off in the comments, but
so I've been told.
But still, if you had all the musicians, not just in St. Lucia, but all the musicians in the entire Caribbean, in one room, what would you tell them? Like, what advice would you give them?
Ask them to teach me. I don't know what advice I'd give them, man. But if I have to be serious, I mean, that's a piece of advice that I always pound in my head when I really get lazy and I don't want to practice anymore, is just practice. That's the most I can say to everyone. Just practice. You don't understand? I mean, there's nothing wrong in going to the big dogs that you follow and the big time musicians that make it in your island and ask them, hey, can you show me this? I mean, Dwight is by far one of the most talented and well-achieved musicians in my age group. And I always ask the guy questions, especially when it comes to my tone and stuff, Even some of the older guys like Zach. When I played at Roots and Soul as well, I had the opportunity to meet Gideon as well and link up with him, and we had a good talk, just
Right.
talking about the playing and the approach that I take and he takes in music. So the main thing is don't let. I mean, even if you think you're better than some musicians, don't let it get to your head. You can still learn so much from everyone. So I guess that would be my advice.
All right. So, right there, what you're saying there even sounds extremely similar to what Gideon was saying. But I noticed that this is the third time I think you mentioned Zach. Who's Zach?
I think his Instagram is Zach Popo _1, or just search Zach Popo. He's the guitarist for Teddyson John. So when Teddyson goes on tour and whatnot in the island, he's the guitarist for the band. I can't remember how we met, but ever since I think it was at a concert I played at or something, a gospel concert, and ever since we've been linking up, and he's been such a inspiration and a help to me. Always willing to teach me something or tell me, try this or do this, So he's a good guitarist to check out. He doesn't post much, but he does have a little bit of content there if you want to check it out.
All right. I'll definitely check him out. I think now that you say it, every day, when I'm featuring musicians on the platform, I see a lot of musicians every day, and I'm sure I've seen a Zach Popo. I'm very sure I've seen him. So was he kind of your inspiration for? I remember there was a video that we featured, and I even featured it on Lucian Musicians Favorites. Kitesa. What you doing there?
Yeah.
You know you're not good there. Yeah. So was he, knowing him, kind of like, is he the one on that track? Is he the one on the record?
I actually don't know, I more than likely he would be the one that's on the track, but I can't say 100% that he is, but more than likely he's probably the one that's on it.
All right, for everybody on the IG Live, if you have not already, make sure you go out and follow TJ Project Official. That is the official Instagram of Teddyson John. Check them out. There's some great musicianship there. Yeah, man. So definitely going back to the advice that you gave to Caribbean instrumentalists, it's true that from the musicians that I've spoken to, the recurring theme is that people need to constantly challenge themselves to learn new things and to push beyond the confines of what they already know. And I think that was some very good advice that you just shared.
Yeah, thanks, man. Thanks.
So now, we're almost at the end point. But I just have one more question that I've been asking ever since the second episode, because I think it's very interesting. And I think I'll just keep asking everybody that one. because somebody just told me to ask you what guitar you use. And we'll get to that right after. But before we get to that, do you think musicianship is a gift or a skill?
Boy, it's a tricky question in a sense, because musicianship, there are just some people who are really gifted and they have a different perspective on the whole approach in music, and then there are people like myself who have to really spend time with musicians and build a skill. So it's I don't even know how to respond to it, because it's like a half and half thing. some musicians they have it, they genuinely have it as a gift, and some others they really have to build it up and acquire the skill per se. So I really can't give a straight answer for this one, because I've met some crazy musicians already, and they have it really natural, how to fit in the pockets of
Right.
the whole band,
Right.
So I don't know. I guess for some people it's a gift, and for some definitely it's a skill that has to be worked on. So I guess that's my final answer.
Sounds like your final answer is a balance between the two. And
yeah.
So far, I think I have one. Crap! I think I forgot. I have one for it being a skill, and I have another for it being a gift. And all right, and you're saying it's a balance. I'm still not sure what my own personal answer to that question is. But so we have Len Melius that's vexed with me on the IG live because because I'm not shouting him out. But all right, there's the shout out, my bro. But anyway, moving forward, right? Somebody on the IG live wants to know what guitar do you use?
I currently have a Squier Stratocaster. It's not Fender. Well, I guess it's Fender. But yeah, Squier
made by Fender, right?
Made by Fender.
Listen, and I'll tell everybody in the chat right now, don't sleep on Squiers, man. Squiers might not be as expensive as Fenders, but they still have that build quality and that tone that you're not really going to get anywhere else.
I mean, I'm really Dwight ended up telling me again when I was on my little journey to buy my pedal. It really isn't the guitar; it really is the player. And plus, once you see you have a proper effect pedal, you can get your guitar sounding pretty good. Because the video that you posted to talk about the green room with me playing, I did not have an effect pedal back then, and I actually did not like my tone too much then. And then when I got the pedal and I started looking into the amps that the pedal had, I fell in love with the guitar again, because I'm seeing like, bro, the guitar is like really performing, especially for some of my solos with the distortion, So I mean, don't overlook buying a Squier. I would actually recommend someone to buy a Squier because it's actually pretty versatile. I don't really regret having a Squier, but I definitely want a new guitar.
Yeah, and that's a really big deal, especially the part where you mentioned that it's not the guitar, it's the player. Because the same thing goes for bass. There was a time a long time ago when I started playing, I used to look at some basses and say like, yo, it must be an expensive bass. Not realizing that, the guy could play your bass and still sound as good as he sounds. Because it's just, his positioning, it's how he's playing the notes. And, it's in your fingers,
Yeah, it really is. It really is. By the way, before some of my partners start getting vexed, let me just give a shout out to Leonard, Rohan, and Bijan. Because those guys are behind my Twitter and they give me a shout out. So there you have it.
All right. Well, Lucian musicians, most of the Lucian musicians' base is on Instagram. So just share their Instagram handles with people in case they want to check them out.
But I can't remember the handles. I know Bijan is the man _ with the plan, I think. Rohan is RJ something, RG. So it's R then JAYY, I think. Right. Leonard is just Len Melius. Suckish name, but yeah.
Yeah, man, it's cool because all Lucian musicians is we're a platform for musicians. So for anybody listening to the podcast, check them out. Shout out to Team Shoutout JA. They're a platform very similar to Lucian musicians. They're based in Jamaica, and
okay, nice.
So y'all can check them out on the live as well. You have any questions for me? We're coming up on the last 3 minutes now, so I want to just open the floor.
I remember you said you started playing guitar, right? How has that been so far for you? What's your progress been in that so far?
So I don't know if you remember the first episode of the Green Room when I told Gideon that in order for me to learn, I was giving myself a 1,000-hour challenge.
Right, yes.
Yeah, so right now I'm on 210, and the hours are starting to slow down a little bit because I'm just a lot busier. I'm a lot busier than when I started, right? But after speed, the hours back up again. You know, I bought
of course.
Yeah, I bought a Ibanez semi-acoustic.
Okay, nice.
And you know, a Boss amp and a Boss multi-effects pedal, and that's kind of what I used to practice. Some of my biggest challenges right now, strumming, because as a bassist, we're just not used to that motion. Like it's just it doesn't feel natural to a bassist, you know. So like I have to like teach myself that motion, but it's becoming a lot easier. And there's a lot of like helpful strumming videos and stuff on Facebook. But yeah, man, apart from that, like it's going well so far. It's more, I wouldn't say it's more difficult than I thought. It's about, it's pretty much what I expected. But here's the funny thing: for all the bassists on the live and all the bassists that will listen to this later on, learning guitar does improve your bass playing, I believe, because it's almost like the fretboard on steroids, because the higher strings are raised, so it's like an additional challenge to your brain to think, okay, I know all the patterns on the lower strings, so now I have to translate what I know and shift it, and that shift is what you really learn. And you know, you have to teach yourself a whole new muscle memory, and you know, I like it. I like the challenge, man. I like to push my boundaries. You know, that's my motto.
Of course.
Wait,
yeah, man.
somebody on Instagram Live is talking about Nana's Paradise. But anyway,
about what?
Yeah, Nana's Paradise is a film that I was in. Yeah, you can check out my personal Instagram. You'll see links to different things I'm involved in.
All right, I'll check it out.
But yeah, man, you know, this was a great talk. You know, it was great having you on the Green Room. I know.
Yeah, man, it was a pleasure.
Yeah, man. I definitely learned some things. I never even heard about Line 6 before this conversation.
You serious?
Yeah, I'm serious. I've seen, like, you know, it's the kind of thing where you see the logo places and you see it places, but you don't really take it on.
Yeah.
So, all right. Yeah, man. So, now, right before we go, is there anything else that you want to tell the people on the IG Live, or tell anybody else that'll be listening to the podcast in the months or years to come?
Well, I just want to give a shout out to everyone that supported me so far. So, you know, Gershom, Darnell, Rohan, Bijan, Leonard, you know, these guys, and you see these guys, the guys I mentioned, Rohan, Leonard, Bijan, Kesley as well. These guys are like a crazy gospel band. They're part of a group called Total Praise. And those guys are phenomenal. Ron is like a crazy bass player, like made on a different speed. Leonard needs a lot of work, man. Leonard needs a lot. I'm joking. He doesn't. Leonard is a bad boy on the drums. Bijan is like those undercover pianists, like the man bad, but he's not saying anything. You know, he doesn't show off or anything like that. He just like you're on a calm. All right. You know.
All right.
I think Dwight. Who else? Charlotte. I'm the big up Charlotte's one of my biggest fans. I don't know who else I'm missing out, but I just want to give some mad love to everyone who supported me and everything. And yeah, I appreciate y'all.
All right, so that's the end of this Green Room episode. I think the biggest takeaway, especially from the shout-outs at the end there, is that musicianship is not a one-man show. You know, it's difficult not to... It's difficult to make the progress that you need to make without pulling in others that can teach you more than you know. So always keep pushing your boundaries and always keep learning. All right.
Yeah, man. Of course.
Yeah, boss. It was nice talking to you. Everybody on the chat.
It was a pleasure.
You guys are hilarious. Take it easy. Thanks for listening, everybody. Kyle's information will be posted along with this episode. I'm so excited for all the future conversations we'll be having together. Remember to subscribe to us on YouTube, follow us on Instagram, like on Facebook. All of those links can be accessed from the website www.lucianmusicians.com. You can expect an episode of The Green Room every month. See y'all later.